The date is December the 7th, 1985. The air inside the storied Boston Garden is thick with a charged current, a mix of tobacco smoke, cheap beer, and the electric fury of thousands of voices. This is one heart of the Northeastern Territory, and the main event is for the coveted Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. The spotlight hits the aisle, and the crowd collectively spits out its venom. Strolling with a swagger that seems to defy the laws of physics and good taste is Jesse the Body Ventura. He is the quintessential villain, a walking affront to every working-class hero and wholesome American ideal. His bleach blonde hair, his tanned, impossibly sculpted physique gleaming under the house lights, his attire an ostentatious explosion of feather boas and sequined spandex. It all screams elitist, a man who sees the audience not as fans, but as rubes to be mocked. He is the ultimate, self-anointed physical specimen, never failing to remind the masses, through a sneer and a flex, that he is better than them. Ventura is at the very apex of his chosen profession as a despised heel. His in-ring work is fundamentally sound, aggressive, and perfectly calibrated to draw maximum heat. His true genius, already shining through, is on the microphone. Every boast, every cutting remark, every self-aggrandizing pronouncement is delivered with a conviction that makes the audience genuinely, hatefully believe he believes it. Tonight, the target of his scorn is the champion, the living embodiment of Mexican grace and tenacity, Tito Santana. The match is a clinic in heel psychology. Ventura cheats at every turn, using the ropes, the turnbuckle pads, and the brief, strategically timed distraction of the referee. He dominates long stretches with power moves and crushing disregard for the rules, forcing Santana to fight from beneath a mountain of frustration. In the final frantic moments, he manages to hurl the champion outside the ring. Before Santana can re-enter, Ventura unleashes a barrage of savage kicks, driving him back to the ground. The bell rings. The official decision is that Jesse the Body Ventura wins by countout. A colossal roar of disappointment, a collective groan of a victory snatched away, washes over the garden. Ventura has won the battle, yet the title belt remains stubbornly around the waist of Tito Santana, as championships do not change hands on a countout. And yet, this is precisely what makes him so credible, so effective. He has beaten the champion, even if the gold remains elusive. His disdainful exit, basking in the loathing of a frustrated audience, confirms his status, a legitimate threat, a top-tier villain whose greatest prize isn't a belt, but the visceral reaction of the people who pay to see him fail. What the thousands of angry fans do not yet fully grasp is that this is the beginning of the end for the Body as an in-ring competitor. A shadow of injury, the lingering effect of blood clots in his lungs, is subtly but surely forcing his hand. The curtain is falling on the wrestling portion of his career, but a much bigger stage is waiting. The true seismic impact of Jesse Ventura was not to be found within the ropes, but alongside them. A career-ending physical hurdle will become a professional pivot point, leading him almost immediately to the broadcast booth. It is here, as a color commentator, that James Janos, the man behind the Body, will find his most powerful, lasting voice. And it is this very voice, this newfound perch of opinion and influence within Vince McMahon's expanding empire, that will eventually lead him into the legal and philosophical war that gives this story its true historic weight. The battle in the Boston Garden was a skirmish, yet the war, the one against the godfather of modern wrestling, was about to begin, and it would be fought over something far more valuable than a championship belt: the rights of the workers who made the entire spectacle possible. To understand the man who would take on Vince McMahon and win, we must first rewind, long before the outlandish attire and the bleach blonde arrogance. Born James George Janos in 1951 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, his youth was disciplined by a military service that was neither brief nor casual. Janos was a member of the elite underwater demolition team, serving during the Vietnam era. This experience instilled in him an ironclad discipline, an unwavering self-confidence, and a deeply ingrained suspicion of established authority, traits that would define every subsequent chapter of his life. Leaving the military, he found an outlet for his energy in the counterculture world of motorcycle clubs, before seeking a new kind of arena for his physicality. Professional wrestling was a perfect fit. It was a carnival, a stage, a theatrical outlet where his imposing physique, quick wit, and natural ability to provoke a crowd could be weaponized. In 1975, the transformation began. James Janos became Jesse the Body Ventura, a bleach-blonde caricature of the narcissistic California jock, adopting the heel persona with gusto. His motto, resurrected from wrestling legend Gorgeous George, became his guiding principle. Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. His early career saw him hone his craft across various territories, finding significant success in the American Wrestling Association, his hometown promotion. There, he formed the East-West Connection tag team with Adrian Adonis, winning the World Tag Team Championship in 1980. This success, of course, brought him the attention of the rapidly expanding World Wrestling Federation. Ventura's arrival in the federation in 1981 would become crucial to Vince McMahon Jr.'s national expansion. He was a credible, high-level heel who could instantly main event. He was instrumental in the early days of the Hulkamania era, serving as the chief foil to the Federation's ultimate babyface, Hulk Hogan. The two men had a natural, volatile chemistry, their muscle-bound charisma destined to clash. Ventura's sheer arrogance made Hogan's all-American heroics shine brighter. Their constant friction was central to the Federation's narrative, lasting until Ventura's medical issues forced him out of the ring in early 1986. The transition to color commentary was where the true genius of Jesse Ventura emerged. He had charisma in the ring, but in the broadcast booth, he had a platform to articulate his character's worldview, and in the process, pioneer a new form of sports commentary. Paired most famously with Gorilla Monsoon, Ventura broke every existing mold. He became the undisputed voice of the villain, a commentator who openly and unapologetically rooted for the heel. This was revolutionary. All previous commentators were meant to be the voice of the fan, favoring the good guys. Ventura, instructed by McMahon to jazz things up, did the opposite. He was intelligent, conversant, and insightful, dissecting the action with a keen eye, but always with a bias. He'd praise the heels for their cunning, question the integrity of the babyfaces, and celebrate every cheap shot. He narrated the psychological warfare, giving depth and logic to the villain's perspective. His delivery with Monsoon, a perfect face-heel dynamic, became the gold standard for heel-face announcing. Monsoon would constantly exclaim, "Will you be serious?" while the Body would respond with a snide dismissal. His work on the major pay-per-views, including the first 6 WrestleManias, was essential to defining the era. He was the intellectual heel, turning a simple commentary line into memorable, cutting theater. But this period of career ascent was also when the seed for his most consequential battle was planted. The relationship between Ventura and Hulk Hogan, once one of close friendship, would soon fracture over the harsh business realities. In 1986, prior to WrestleMania 2, Jesse Ventura, seeing the lack of benefits and grueling schedules, attempted to organize a labor union among the Federation talent. He recognized that the performers, classified as independent contractors, lacked basic employment protections. This was a direct, existential threat to Vince McMahon's entire business model, and McMahon moved quickly to crush the effort. Years later, during his litigation against McMahon, Ventura would make a shocking discovery. The person who informed the Federation owner of his unionizing efforts was none other than Hulk Hogan. This betrayal fractured their friendship forever, cutting deeper than any scripted rivalry. For Ventura, it was an unforgivable act of complicity with management against his fellow workers. A moment where the lines between the theatrical good guy and the real-life company man dissolved into a harsh reality. A final dispute over the use of his likeness for a Sega product led to Ventura walking away from the Federation in August 1990, ending one of the most successful commentary runs in wrestling history. Ventura's journey of disruption continued into politics, where he became mayor of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, and later stunned the political establishment by becoming the 38th governor of Minnesota in 1998. But it was the battle he fought in the courtroom that holds the deepest significance for his wrestling career. The litigation began in November 1991. While negotiating his contract as a commentator years earlier, Ventura had been told that only feature performers, wrestlers, received royalties on videotape sales. Under this false premise, he had waived his rights. Upon discovering that other non-feature performers were indeed receiving royalties, Ventura filed suit against Titan Sports, the parent company of the federation, for fraud and, crucially, quantum meruit, a legal claim arguing he deserved a fair market value for his uncompensated contribution. This was a David versus Goliath battle. Ventura was challenging the foundational structure of the federation's financial machine and the industry's classification of its talent. The jury trial was a testament to Ventura's tenacity. His legal team successfully argued that Ventura's contributions, especially on the foundational pay-per-views and commentary tracks, were instrumental to the product's success. He wasn't just talent, he was a key element of the saleable product. In the end, Jesse Ventura won. The jury verdict was a significant victory, awarding him over $800,000 based on the quantum meruit claim and additional back pay for non-video merchandise. The judgment was affirmed on appeal, and the case, Ventura versus Titan Sports, became an important precedent in the law of restitution, a landmark ruling that affirmed an individual's right to fair compensation, even under the pressure of a powerful company's contract. Jesse Ventura, the former Navy frogman and wrestling villain, had taken on the most powerful man in the world of professional wrestling, a man who ran his business with an almost feudal authority, and he had won. It was a symbolic win for every worker in the industry. The consequence, however, was a professional erasure. As a result of the litigation, the Federation, in its subsequent home video releases, removed Ventura's commentary from almost all of his most famous matches and events. For years, the voice of the heel who helped define the golden era of the World Wrestling Federation was silenced, a corporate act of historical editing. Yet Jesse Ventura, the man who knew how to work the angles, had achieved the ultimate victory. He forced the most powerful man in the industry to recognize the value of his work, proving that the villain who operated outside the rules could still successfully hold the powerful to account. The rebel who took on Vince McMahon and won did so not in a sweaty arena, but in a quiet courtroom, forever changing the rules of the game he had helped to perfect. He entered the ring as a heel, but left history as the man who pinned the system itself, proving that even in wrestling's scripted world, some victories are very real.